Hello, welcome to this video. I realised I forgot to film like an introduction when I started this video, so this is me coming back to do it now. So sorry if there's like, yeah, discontinuities, whatever. Yeah, I wanted to say before I get into it that I've decided to change my name on this channel. Basically, I have a booktube channel which is called Actual Spinster, and I really like it as a name. I think it works great. People sometimes compliment me on it, love it. And then when I made this, I made it be called like the Subversive Knitting Pod or like the Subversive Stitch, which was sort of inspired by a book, but I've decided to change my name on this platform to Spinster Actually, because obviously like a booktube channel called Actual Spinster doesn't really make that much sense, but a, you know, textile related channel called Something to Do with Spinster does make a lot of sense, because like literal spinster spinning. And now that I can actually literally create yarn, I sort of feel like calling this channel Spinster Actually. I'm gonna say it wrong all the time, that is the only problem. Yeah, Spinster Actually I think is a better choice. So yeah, I hope that makes sense, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Today I'm gonna do the kind of like 2024 wrap up, but the way I want to do it this year, instead of going through everything I knit, which I think I have on this channel really, I'm actually just going to focus on all of the clothes and also I guess shoes that I brought into my wardrobe in 2024. And basically it's because I saw some like statistics about like the size of wardrobes and how many pieces of clothing people are bringing in to their clothes, like to their wardrobes like every year, and I thought those figures were just like wild. Maybe not necessarily the size of their wardrobes, but specifically how many clothes that they were bringing in new, like buying new clothes and bringing them into their wardrobes. I mean the figures change depending on the country, and I saw some about Australia and America and I think the UK as well, but they were all just like very large numbers to me. But then I also was like, well, maybe I'm not that in touch with how many clothes that I am actually bringing into my wardrobe. So I thought I would record that. All of this data is about new clothing. I'll try to find some of it. I mean, I found this like 7 or 8 months ago, and I'm not sure that I recorded where I got it from or who I saw it with. I think one person definitely who was speaking about Australian figures, I think, was Katie One More Time, who I will link below, but yeah, I'm not sure which video that was or anything. Anyway, so yeah, in response to those numbers and my judgment, I thought I should check, you know, and record how many new clothes and new things I'm bringing into my life, in case it was like as close to those figures, or if I was correct and I was way under. And honestly, yeah, the conclusion is like, in order to get to that higher number, which I think as far as I remember was between like 40 to 50 or so new clothes a year, I'd really have to try exceptionally hard to do that. And yeah, for this video I am also including my clothes that I have made, which of course are not really included in these statistics or anything, but for me they're new clothes, aren't they? So I feel like they should be included. You know, I think there are some ways to mitigate some of the negative effects of like consumption in terms of making clothes. I mean, I sew clothes out of, like I buy from a company that is like selling dead stock fabrics, so that makes me feel like it's better than just buying like brand new fabric. But obviously it's complicated, and I think like we can then like focus on the individual, and of course like we need like systemic change in order to help this, but at the same time like staying in tune with our individual practices around consumption and creation is important, especially just in terms of like, you don't want to do things thoughtlessly, right? You're supposed to, especially in this community, like it's supposed to be intentional, and it's not very intentional to just like not be in touch with, I don't know, the climate effects of the things that you're buying and making, you know? Most of the things I made will be recognizable to you. Should I start by saying how many? So altogether I brought 16 new pieces of clothing and shoes and also a swimming costume, including underwear, into my life in 2024. 3 of those were bras, because like my bras, like I had 2 bras that basically just died on me, and I already didn't have that many bras anyway, so I bought, yeah, another one above the replacement number, which is fine and necessary. Yeah, and then in terms of the handmade to new numbers, 7 out of those 16 were clothes that I made, either knitting or sewing. I have also included this beret in it, and also a scarf, which I don't know, also feels a bit silly, but like I thought I would. It doesn't really matter. It's not like I'm trying to get the numbers really low, because they are fairly low, which leaves, aside from the swimming costume and the bras, 5 new clothes and, oh, well the shoes are secondhand, but it doesn't matter. Like 4 clothes, pieces of clothing, and then 5 including the shoes. I'm doing really well explaining this. I hope it's going okay. Let's just start with the shoes. These are the shoes that I bought. I have 2 pairs of shoes, and now I have 3 pairs of shoes. I'm disabled and I'm in a lot of pain a lot of the time, so I basically always wear walking boots that I have, and then I have 1 pair of trainers which are ancient and I think will need to be replaced in 2025 probably. They already are like not great, and I've like twisted my ankle whilst wearing them and stuff. I don't really like them, but they're good for like in summertime when wearing walking boots. It's just way too hot. But enter these great DM sandals. Yeah, so I got these secondhand, but like refurbished, and I am pretty happy with them. I enjoyed wearing them in the summertime, and I'm sure I will again. Also, I feel like they'll go really well with this dress, although it is corduroy, so it's probably not summer wearing material, but I guess I could just have cold feet, I don't know. Anyway, this is the swimming costume that I bought. It's nice, it's practical. I needed a replacement for the old one that I have, which was just like not doing its job very well and a bit gross. It's just got this like paint splatter. It's useful because I like going swimming. Then I have 2 dresses from the same place. These dresses, and I got them when there was a sale on. They're from Joni, which I'm not entirely sure about the ethical practices of these companies, but for me, one of the reasons why I guess I make my own clothes or I'm buying new clothes is because of the size that I am. Like, I'm fat, and so it can be really hard to find secondhand clothes that size, and so when I went on Joni, because you know I got advertised their dresses and I was like, okay, those are cute, like I would wear those, and I was looking in their sale and stuff. I was like, oh, I bet you they won't have my size, but they did, and in fact they had slightly higher sizes than mine, which is always a good sign, because it's bad to be in the final range of the size. It means that people like larger, fatter than you can't buy from there, so that's not very nice. And yeah, so I ordered 2, and I think like they were so on sale that 2 was still less than the cost of 1 off sale, which is a bit wild and like probably isn't good either, but anyway. So yeah, I got this one that has swans on it. It's very like sort of like, it makes me feel like a bit of a like 1890s school teacher, or like maybe if I'm like in Anne of Green Gables, that kind of energy. And then I got this one which has like this lovely collar that I love, and is kind of like sort of a 1980s vibe to me. It's like slightly too big, but I think I did send back for different sizes than the ones I originally got, because actually when there is more sizing and you're so used to being like in the larger size or like struggling with sizes, I feel like I'm terrible at actually getting the correct size when there's sizes available for me, like higher sizes. So I always get like larger, but then I actually don't need it, or like whatever. And I think that is what happened with this, but I decided to keep this one because I think that the size below would have been too small, you know, like it was kind of one of those things. But I still, you know, really enjoy it. I do like to wear it with something tied around the waist, actually. I think it does make it look better. They're both long sleeves, so they are both quite warm. I bought them in February, I think, and so they have had some wear, not loads and loads. I did wear this actually to a friend's wedding, but it was like in May and it was so hot. I'm not really sure what I was thinking. I just like, was it in May or was it in September? No, maybe it wasn't even in May, maybe it was in June. Why was I wearing this in June? Anyway, you know, so interesting decisions were made. But yeah, they're fun. They're both pretty long as well, which is, I guess like something that I like in my dresses and skirts. Although, you know, I also don't mind showing leg, but just like, yeah, I guess like I probably still, I guess like mainly my skirts and dresses are like knee length if they're short, generally not above that, but yeah. Okay, so now we're getting into the part of the year that is like more me making skirts. I think that this was when I finally had access to my sewing machine again, so I was really enjoying that. So I made this skirt, which has Birch Femme pumpkin farmers on it, which is very sweet. I had a bit of issue with just like the shape of it, I guess, in the end, and it was originally going to be 3 tiers, but I ended up just with 2 because I didn't like how the 3rd tier looked really, and also because I sort of decided on the 3 tiers before I really thought about the size of the pattern itself, which it is quite large. So if the tiers, yeah, I hope that makes sense. It's just like, that's why I made this tier quite long, so that you could really get a sense of what the pattern was. But then as a result, like, I didn't want to make each tier that long, and I don't think I had enough fabric to do that, but I can't remember. And because it's a gathered skirt, like, there was quite a lot of fabric too. So the final tier was going to be a lot of fabric. So then I tried to do a small tier for that, but then I thought, yeah, it just didn't look good, and I didn't like the shape it created. Like, I'm not 100% happy with how this skirt came out, but I think it's fine, and like, it's a nice sort of casual skirt to wear. And this is from Dead Stock Fabric. I did buy it in the summer, I think, and obviously it's like more like Halloween-y, autumny, and it was on sale. So not only is it dead stock, but it's on sale. That is generally also what I do. I do buy things when they're on sale, quite a lot. Then the next thing was another skirt. In 2025, I really need to make things that are not skirts. Like, I think the part of my wardrobe that is suffering the most, I mean, I still have lots, but like, is like shirts and tops, because like, I basically only make skirts. I buy a lot of dresses, and then like, I don't make any yeah, tops, but mostly I have quite a lot of like old clothes that I keep forever and ever, which is fine, but at the same time it means that I've got like all of these t-shirts that, like, you know. Anyway, back to the skirt. So this is yeah, so this was an elasticated waistband, which I don't think I've done for a really long time. And I mean, I think it came out nice, and I really like the sort of extra ruffling. I kind of used a tutorial on YouTube, which I will link in the description box if you want to check it out. It's very easy and simple. And then this I just kind of made up, which is a pleated skirt out of this, yeah, orange witch fabric, which I think looks fun. It's just like a, I don't know, a wrap skirt, is that what you would call it? It's, you know, got hooks and eyes to fasten it. And there's quite a lot of length that I could, like, there's quite a lot of length here where the fastenings are. So I probably, like, if I needed to, I could probably change that if I change sizes. So that's useful. And yeah, it's quite a long one, or well, it's longer than the other one. And I really love to wear it under a petticoat. I think it looks excellent like that. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this came out. The only thing is, sometimes I do occasionally feel a little self-conscious wearing it, even when it's not like Halloween or October, which, you know, it's something I have to work on, so yeah. Now we're gonna get into a bit more knitting. So like I said, I made this beret, which is like a stalk and pip beret by Albiona McLaughlin, I think. I feel like it's gonna look really good here. But basically, I really struggle to wear this. And part of that is like, I just don't, I'm not like a hat person really, but I thought I could become a beret person, you know? But also I just think it needs to be bigger for me to like wear it better. I don't really know how people are wearing berets. And like, especially in terms of warmth, like, yeah, I don't know. I think like it's not quite working for me. So I do kind of, I think I might sell this actually. Because I think, you know, it could be nice. I was thinking maybe I'll sell it for something, and then I'll make another one for a second try that is in the bigger size. I always sort of think like, oh, I have a really small head. I don't know if that's actually true at this point, but it was silly to make the smaller size. I definitely should have made a larger size. Obviously it's not that it doesn't fit on. I mean, I think my where I bound off for the edge, like it's fine, but I think it needs maybe a little bit of work. It was the first time I've done that particular bind off, which I can't remember what it's called, but yeah. Otherwise, I think it's a really nice beret, and I think like the yarn looks really nice. You know, I'm happy with how it came out. It just doesn't quite work for me. I'm not ready to give up on berets yet, but like I think if I do knit a larger size and then that doesn't work, then I probably will. give up. The yarn is Rosa Pomar, I think. I will like indicate if I'm incorrect, slash what yarn it actually is. I held it double though, that much I remember. Okay, the next thing I made was the self-drafted raglan like jumper that is inside out. This has also been washed twice in a washing machine. Basically, like, I don't have spoons for like washing my hair that often, so I definitely don't have spoons for like washing, like hand washing my knitwear. So my phone died, so apologies if there's been shifting around. I was in the middle of talking about this self-drafted raglan jumper that I made, and I was talking, I think, about like hand washing or washing in washing machines. I mean, every time I've washed this, obviously it's been on the like delicate hand wash slash wool cycle, depending on if I'm washing it with other stuff. I don't really remember. And after the first time when it worked out, I feel like it'll be okay. I mean, definitely the fabric of it has changed a little, and I think like maybe shrunk like a little, but to be honest, I made it like slightly too large for what I wanted, really, like partially because I was really concerned about it being too small, a classic problem, but like the body, I mean, to be honest, I don't think it's lost a lot of size really anywhere, but yeah, I definitely, if it has gotten a little smaller, that's okay. With me, I think the main ones that I would say has suffered are really the mohair sections, which is a little bit of a shame, but also with wear, I actually think it sort of helps me out. I mean, the sleeves look really good like this. I haven't, after the second wash, I have not worn it, so I will be, you know, trying it on to model for you, so we'll see if I made a major mistake. But yeah, this is made out of like striped, basically pink and red yarn that I had. I managed to make it without finishing a bunch of the yarn that I thought I would finish, and so to be honest, I could have used less stripes and done larger blocks, especially of some of the lighter pink colours, which, you know, is something to know now, I guess. But I was really proud of like how, you know, I drafted it myself. I think that's also partially why I haven't knit that much, because actually 2 of the things I knit this year I drafted myself, but like, I mean, based off of each other, but still, like, that was kind of a cool new challenge in terms of knitwear for me. Yeah, you know, like the sleeves, okay. Like I said, I think the fit is slightly, like, I made basically the top of the arm is too big because I was so concerned, and a bit too long as well. I think like if it started here, that would have been better. And so you can kind of see the like lumpiness, but that's partially created from the washing. It wasn't quite so lumpy up here before then. Obviously on, it doesn't really, like, in my opinion, I don't think it matters or like changes how it looks. And then yeah, I have a sleeve that I increased massively. I don't remember the rate, but yeah, it got bigger and bigger. Yeah, I think that the neckline is like okay. I don't especially like it. Again, I think this was something that I was like, oh, I didn't want it to be too small. And then I kind of, I think, did imagine that I might go back in and like knit some ribbing around it, which I suppose I could still do. I'm just not sure that I care that much. Yeah, but we'll see. So yeah, I use like a range of different kinds of yarn, including like a cotton wool blend, yeah, leftover bits of mohair, some like Jamesons that I had also a bit left over, like a tweed from Hobby that, yeah, again, I had left over. Another thing that I don't especially like is how I did the striping on the back. Like, it's very obvious, and I think I need to learn, what is it, helical knitting? I mean, it's not terrible and I don't really mind. Like, again, these are like clothes that I made myself. I don't need them to look like they weren't handmade, and specifically made by me with my own particular kind of taste and like aesthetic and whatever. And it has like a frill on the edge as well, which also has kind of compacted a little in the washing. But again, I don't really mind that. I guess maybe this edge is like a little bit sadder now, but that's okay. I did have to use like some scraps to finish it off, so it's like a little bit of an interesting yeah, an interesting one. There's like the red mohair, and then there's some white mohair, and then there's this like non-mohair. But that's all okay. Kind of, it makes me, kind of reminds me of like sort of scrappy circus energy is really, I guess, how I feel about it. And obviously I do love the colour pink. Okay, The next thing, we're going back to sewing. So this is another great success. I definitely feel like my creative practice this year has been pretty successful, even with like a couple issues, you know, like in terms of the beret, and you know, even though I have some issues with the fit or like whatever of this, overall I would consider it a success for sure. Yeah, so this is another great success. This is I get a lot of compliments on it, and I always love when I get complimented on things that I've made, because then you get to be like, thank you so much, I made it, which is even better. So yeah, it's just a pleated skirt in this check black and white fabric. Pretty simple, but I'm really happy with it, and I'm really happy with how I did like the finishing. So I sewed down each pleat for a little bit until here, and then not only that, but on the back I also caught the side of the pleat that wasn't caught necessarily. I guess I could have made sure that every pleat was caught, but then it would have been a bit tighter, and I don't really like that. So I think it's kind of perfectly come out. It's a bit shorter than the pleated witch skirt, but not by massive amount. I guess like by a couple inches here and there, I don't know. And yeah, this one also is a you know, wraparound, like with some poppers. I did 3 poppers on this one, and again, like I could, you know, move these around a little bit. It's not like super tight when I wear it, whereas the witch one actually is like maybe a little bit tight. So there's a bit of space anyway, but then also if I need more space I can always just move around the poppers. Should I say the one thing that I'm like annoyed about with this? No, because I don't want you to notice it. And yeah, very happy with it, and I think it like really fits into my wardrobe. It's definitely what I wanted, and I've had like this idea for sort of like a checked skirt for a long time, and like finally it came to fruition. And I do have a bunch of fabric left over. I actually have fabric left over from each of those 3 like skirt projects, which yeah, I want to make one more skirt using some of them, and also some of the fabric that I dyed, not very successfully, but yes. And then yeah, I still have leftovers from each. I kind of would like to make like a little collar out of the witch fabric, because I think that would be really cute. I mean, I also think that the farmers would be cute, like the butch pumpkin farmers would be cute too, but I don't know. Yeah, anyway, whatever, getting distracted. Okay, I think I then knit this next, which is just a scarf, and you can see from this that this yarn was also in this. I mean, this project actually still didn't finish the yarn. I think I still have leftover of it. But yeah, this is like a combination of some spindle spun yarn that I've made, like the first that I think I made like successfully, which is cool. It's, I think, like a merino blend, I can't remember anymore, but and I made this skirt, like I knitted this scarf in order to kind of fill a gap in my life where I made this like really great scrappy scarf, and I lost it. I don't know where it went, like it must have been lost in a move or something, or maybe it fell out of my pocket, but I don't think it would have fallen out of my pocket, but I don't know, maybe one day I'll find it again, who knows. So then I was like, well, I could make a kind of scrappy one, and obviously like with spindle spun yarn, like, you know, hand spun yarn, you want it to be like special and kind of seen, I guess, but also this is obviously like not great yarn, so I thought that the best kind of use for it would be in like a bit of a scrappy scarf that just like, yeah, is supposed to be scrappy and isn't supposed to be like super cohesive or like super you know, put together. Yeah, there's that, and that's also why I left all the ends hanging out for that kind of vibe, which is also what the original scarf was like, but there was like a lot more different stuff. The only thing with it is, so the reason why the middle doesn't have any of my hand spun is because it's going to be around my neck, which is like sensitive, and I didn't want this to be around it because I thought it would probably not be great for me. And that is definitely true, like it's better this way, but actually it has been kind of irritating me a bit recently, and I wonder if it's maybe this, that like it's just a bit rough on my neck or something. Anyway, yeah, so I don't know, I actually am knitting another scarf right now, but out of just like some yarn that someone gave me that I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's acrylic. It could be cotton, but I'm pretty sure it's acrylic. So yeah, with no potential for irritation, just as like a back up. It was cool that I used my hand spun in this. It has like stretched quite a lot, like the scarf, because of use, which is fine, but yeah. So again, like a successful project, but one that I use, and so as a result has like kind of impacted it. And yeah, I'd give it a 6.5 to 8 out of 10, I think. Not to just randomly bring in some kind of rating system right at the end, but whatever. Okay, let's see, we're almost done, I think. Okay, then the last thing that I knit was this, which is my spooky sleeves, and yeah, it was like based off of the sleeve pattern for the raglan that I used, but modified to be even larger, and also modified to be even closer to the arm until it got larger, so that the increases were even more even more like obvious. It looks crazy big like this, which I mean, they're great. I'm really happy with how it came out, and I also did just wash this and it has come out like basically fine, I think, so that's also great. Yeah, it took me a while to figure out like how I wanted to finish the edge around the torso, so I definitely like knit and re-knit it quite a few times. I'm not like completely happy with how I finished it around there, but like for what it is, I'm happy with it, and I think, yeah, it came out really well. I used 2 different colorways. One of the colorways is the body and like, yeah, as much of the body that is, and up until like the ends of the sleeves, and then the other one is the sleeves, and I think that works really well, because obviously there's like similar colors and some of the same, but then also different, and it makes like the sleeves even more kind of obvious, which yeah, I just love. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out. So this definitely was a 10 out of 10 success. Yeah, and I made it in time to wear in Halloween, which also just felt kind of like, you know, the right time for some sort of spooky, silly sleeves. Yeah, for both of these, because of my sort of sensitivity to wool, I do need to wear stuff under it, so that's the one kind of consideration for like how I can style them, but that's fine. Especially I think with this one, like I just need to make sure that I have at least something that covers me after the elbow. So those are all of the things that I made, and then the final 2 things were gifts for my birthday, which was very recently. So there's this dress, which is why I was wearing it. I mean, it's also nice. This is a dress from Lucy and the Yak. It was also on sale. You know, so it was like a gift, but it was one of those gifts where like you go and you look at stuff together, and then, you know. So yeah, I tried it on. I was also like really pleased to have seen that they have clearly increased their sizing range. I think I tried to buy something from Lucy and Lucy and Yak like a couple years ago, and like the highest size was what I got, and it didn't fit me. And yeah, also I do think it's quite funny that I found like the one singular dress in the whole shop, because obviously Lucy and Yak are like most well known for their dungarees. I don't wear trousers, so like that wasn't gonna work for me. But yeah, so I managed to find a dress, and I really like the leopard print. I think it looks great. And yeah, it's this like corduroy. The one sad thing about not wearing trousers is that like most corduroy is found in trousers, and I love corduroy. So it's sad to not really be able to wear that very much. But this is corduroy. It's like a very thin corduroy. And yeah, it's nice. I think like I thought that the finishing on this would be better. Like after I bought it, there's like a couple things, like there's some like thread still like left out, and there was like bits in sort of like bits to pick out in the ruffles. Yeah, I mean, it's okay, and obviously like I don't know how it will wear because I just got it, but yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. And it was like cool that they had it in my size, because it was in the sale rack, and then, you know, you always just presume that everything on the sale rack is what they have. So yeah, I didn't ask for any sizes, but then when we were like talking about it, they were like, well, I can check if we have more sizes, and they did. The other present I got that like on the same day, like, you know, was these Jane Austen socks, which have, yeah, like an image of Jane Austen on, and they also have a quote, but like the quote doesn't feel especially Jane Austen to me. Like I think they could have picked a more Jane Austen quote, but the quote is, it isn't what we say or think that defines us, but what we do. Yeah, mostly I just like the, you know, like her. I don't really care about this part. But obviously this is the part that you will see, so that's good. I think that's everything, yeah, that I brought in to my wardrobe this year, either by making it with my own hands or buying it with my own hands. Because I did only start to monitor this like a little bit later in the year, there are definitely things I could have missed, but I did have a look at my wardrobe and I'm pretty sure that I didn't buy anything aside from this. So having, you know, crunched the numbers, I continue to think it is kind of wild that people can buy 50 things to bring into their wardrobe every year. Wild. And I feel very happy and also like a little overwhelmed at the idea of like increasing my wardrobe this much every year. So I think that's also good to kind of note as a feeling, especially because obviously I do want to keep making things, but at the same time, like, I'm not trying to become my own factory production line. And it is okay when things like take time, or when, you know, you have to focus on other projects or on mending your clothing. I have a couple things that I want to like mend, or at least like not necessarily mend but slightly modify. Like there's a skirt over there that this year I want to change the fastenings that I used when I first made it, because I think that will be better for me and easier to wear and stuff. And there's also actually another skirt that I want to do the same too, because since I made it like 5-6 years ago, well maybe just 5 years ago, I have like accepted that fastenings are kind of useful as opposed to just safety pins, which also are useful, you know, but I also didn't knit this year, partially because I kind of lost my knitting mojo. I'm like a bit stuck on a project, and so it's just like, yeah, kind of got me a bit stuck in a rut with knitting. But also I knit less this year because I learned how to spin wool, which I kind of did know was going to happen, and I also was like maybe a little bit sad about that, I guess. But at the same time, like, it's been really magical to learn how to like create literal yarn that can be used in projects, and like I'm definitely doing a lot better than this first go, and it's really nice to see that progress and to just like learn sort of like deeper into this crafting and textile creation and all of these processes that I love and I find so interesting, and like I feel so tactile and connective to like the present moment and groundedness, but also to the past and history and like women's work generally, but also just like, you know, people working, creating, living, and making beauty in what is useful, and also just being so fucking clever. Like, these tools are just so clever, you know, like yeah. So yeah, there's this video. I hope it was interesting. Definitely let me know, like, you know, your thoughts about this. Like, you know, I would be happy to hear if you think that this is like a really crazy and large number. Like, definitely let me know your thoughts and feelings, also about your own consumption or my consumption, like whatever. I don't think there's anything else to say, so before I just ramble on and on, I'm gonna stop myself off here. Alright, thank you so much for watching and spending some time with me. I hope that you have a good, you know, had a good 2024 as much as possible, and that you have a better and good 2025. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I already said that. Okay, bye!